What is up guys, it's your Grandpa the Grace here, and I think you all know what time it is again. As usual, I'm here with my friend Western Engine 11 to cover up some of the biggest mysteries in the diecast ranges that we left out of the first one.
Indeed, my fella. So without further ado, let's dive right in.
Adventures on Sodor set. Remember the Totally Tidmus set which had the Great Waterton station in the box while the packaging said Maithwaite? Well, they fixed this issue a bit later by adding the correct station and they renamed it Adventures on Sodor set.
Cody variant. The take-along Cody had a variant in color. Some were a lighter shade of purple than the others.
Search and Rescue Herald. In 2010, Take and Play released a 3-pack with a special herald that has a magnet on the bottom. This could be considered as a rather hard to find item, so if you see a herald which has a closed-off landing gear, then you should think about buying it since it's a pretty nice variation.
Collectible Railway and Adventures trucks. There's an interesting thing about the Adventures and Collectible Railway mainline troublesome trucks, that being their color. The Collectible Railway ones went with the brown that the Take and Play used in the main line, while Adventures chose the design from the Brendan Buddies 4-pack, which is a blue troublesome truck. Also interesting that when Collectible Railway re-released the brown truck, they went with a smiling face rather than the Take and Play's angry one.
Ertl Brown Trucks. The Ertl Brown Trucks. Very mysterious items, but also very popular as of today. Some people see them as the diecast equivalent to the white-faced troublesome truck because these are also trucks that were called back from stores due to having the wrong color, which made them pretty rare. Westy even owns them. Here's a detailed look on said items.
Charge and Go Thomas. The Charge and Go Thomas is a very unique release as it is the only self-driving diecast item to date, not counting Ertl pullback and pull and zoom. You have to charge Thomas up with the water tower and he's ready to go. The only problem is that he only runs for like 15 seconds. Still a nice item though. There's another thing. If you charge him up with a regular charging cable instead of the water tower, he can go in reverse as well. Credit to UC Weapon for finding this out.
Take and Play Duck Packaging. When the Take and Play Duck was released, he got a big engine's packaging for some reason. Maybe this was just an error, but they never tended to fix it so we can consider it as an awful cash grab. This wasn't the only time that this happened though. Later the push-along bell and Whiff also had the same issue.
Exclusives. There are a few characters who are only released exclusively in multi-packs. Those being Flora, Oliver the Excavator, Bulstrode, Esther, and some random All Engines Go characters as well.
Superstation variant. There's a variant of the Superstation, mainly because of the changes in the merch over time. There's one with an Adventures Percy which says compatible with Wooden Railway on the box, and then another with a push-along Percy and the wood logo instead of the Wooden Railway one.
Preschool Adventures. There was a set in a My First Thomas-like box named Tom's at Knapford Station, which could be considered a preschool version of Collectible Railway / Adventures, with a Thomas that has the same wheels as said ranges, but instead of 6 he only has 4 to make him simpler, and also a track that is nearly identical to the Collectible Railway one. We're really not sure why this was necessary, but it's Mattel so we can't research for any logic here.
Grey Quarry Climb variant. There were 2 versions of Owen's Incline in this set, one with the plastic piece that slides onto the magnet, and the other being full on metal instead.
Push Along Dash. Did you guys miss the entries about non-existent items? Well, if you did, fear no more. Mr. Westy has brought to you the Push Along Dash. In Push Along, Bash was the only logging loco who got released. Not saying this is not enough since this is already too much of the logging locos. But still, if they used their old cash grab strategy, they could have just swapped the colors and boom, Push Along Dash to shove down off-roads people.
Hold on, West. There was an existing prototype of him, but when everyone ordered him off Amazon, they got Bash instead.
So Mattel can also be accused of scamming people? Well, I ain't surprised.
2021 push-along facelift. In 2021, some of the original CGI push-along items were redesigned mainly on the chassis, with getting wooden railway-style names. Guess toddlers weren't able to read the dotted one between the codes, huh? And they also received white dots in their pupils, which was a nice touch, not gonna lie.
Miniature Erto variants. The Erto miniature engines were released with both paper and 3D faces, just like their normal scale counterparts.
Ertl Bill and Ben variant. The Ertl Bill and Ben both came with either metal or plastic faces.
More engine works variants. Yes, I know what you're thinking. Wasn't it enough? Well, no. There's still another variant of this, but this time it's not color, but the packaging. This version came with Diesel and James, but the obscure thing is the fact that James is in a blister, but Diesel was exposed. You would think that he was just put there, but if you look at the packaging, he is indeed printed on the content sheet of the box, almost as if he was just put there last minute in the factory because they had too many Diesels lying around that they had to get rid of.
Train yard set variant. The first version of the train yard set didn't have a caboose included.
Class 08 variants. The three Class 08 Diesels had a variant where their buffer beams were only painted in the front, but some had them painted entirely. We think that the only front painted versions are the early 2014 ones.
Wilbert variant. You could have never guessed it, but again here we are messing with colors. Some copies of the Ertl Wilbert have a lighter shade of blue than the others.
Collectible Railway Cranky variant. The Collectible Railway Cranky had two entirely different versions, while being in the same range. One is a version that goes above the track, and the other being a normal blocky version. They also have different expressions.
Sodor Mining Company sticker variant. In the Sodor Mining Company set, some copies had a different sticker on the track than the others.
Thomas and the Raft. The Thomas and the Raft was a limited edition item that was given to you if you bought 3 or more take-and-play items at Kmart back in 2010. Not many people own this item. There are only a few videos about it on YouTube.
Toby and the Spooky Barn. The Toby and the Spooky Barn accessory pack was released as part of the Tale of Brave Wave, but the odd thing is the fact that Toby is not even in the movie, so this release is pretty much pointless.
Plastic take-along similar Thomas. I found this weird looking Thomas while watching a video on YouTube. It looks very similar to take-along, but it is probably plastic, and it also has rubber tires on the back wheels, so it's presumably a pullback item. Also interesting that it has windows, while a lot of diecasts don't.
Wooden railway checkout truck. The checkout items are mainly based on take-alongs, but there's this one truck that is obviously based on a wooden railway giggling troublesome truck for some reason.
Cody and Renee's 2-pack. And here folks, you can see one of the most random 2-packs ever. The Renee's and Cody 2-pack. Average 2-pack in Ohio, I must say.
Collectible Railway Herald. The Collectible Railway Herald is smaller than the other diecast heralds. Just like the PPs of the All Engines Go staff members, if we take that as an example, huh?
Flynn to the Rescue pack. In 2014, there was a take-and-play 3-pack called Flynn to the Rescue, which came with Flynn, his pump truck, and a flatbed with a squishy tanker cargo piece that has a gimmick of water splashing out of it. But this raises some questions here. How is a piece of railway rolling stock attached to Flynn while he has his road pump truck? What the fuck, Mattel?
Take-along launcher. At some time, Learning Curve released this weird-looking take-along engine launcher, which looks pretty similar to the carrying case. It is a somewhat rare item as of today.
Collectible Railway Jungle Adventure Set. This is one of the few 100% collectible railway exclusive releases. All the engines have unique paint jobs which are only available in this pack. as it wasn't released in Adventures.
Collectible Railway exclusive engines. There was a handful amount of Collectible Railway exclusive characters that weren't released in Adventures, those being Mike, Hector, Bert, Ben, Bash, Regular Scruff, Stanley in Space, Streamline Thomas, Shooting Star Gordon, and Patchwork Hero.
Graffiti Gordon and James. Now brace yourselves for another certified Ohio release, the Tenderless Gordon and James.
Collectible Railway and Adventures Max and Monty release. When Max and Monty were re-released in Collectible Railway and Adventures, their Adventures release was the same as the Take and Play aside from the truck, but when they got released in Collectible Railway, he was put in a different multi-pack with Jack and Oliver. Quite a nice pack to say the least. You buy it plus you get an Alfie and boom, you have the CGI construction crew.
Axle Tender. On every diecast release of Axle, his tender is backwards.
Pullback rolling stock. The Urtel Pullback Thomas and Percy have functional couplings, but they never got any rolling stock in their scale.
Rusty and the Rescue Cars. In this take-along pack, Rusty was released with standard gauge rolling stock. Quite a common issue at this point, huh?
Urtel Scruffy release. At first, the Urtel Scruffy was released in a 2-pack with a generic troublesome truck, and then he got a single release later on.
Spills and Thrills Spyro. The Take-and-Play Spills and Thrills Spyro had 2 slots for supports that could stop the set from falling down, but they were never included in any copy of it, so it could only be used if you had it leaning against the wall.
Carly name error. On the first release of the All Engines Go Carly, she was named Crane Vehicle Gru. This was fixed later on.
2 Adventures Tidmouth Sheds. At the time when Adventures was forming, Take and Play had this and Collectible Railway had this Tidmouth Shed set. When Adventures got released, they were both reintroduced in the line, which made 2 different sets of the same location in one merch line.
2001 Dated Urtles. Around the millennium, Urtel changed the date on lots of their items, but the molds remained the same, so there's no point in having a new date.
Instagram collab Graffiti Thomas. Throughout the years, Mattel wasn't really paying attention towards older Thomas fans with special collector's releases. But last year, they released a collaboration with an artist named Blue the Great, which featured a Thomas in a special deco.
Urtel George prototype. The prototype of the Urtel George looked exactly like his Railway series counterpart, but on the actual release, he looked like he did in the TV series.
Donald and Harvey artworks. When the 2013 Harvey and the 2015 Donald were released, they had Model Series artworks on the box, even though they already had a CGI counterpart. Douglas doesn't count since his artwork was only reused from 2013 when he didn't have a CGI render yet.
Urtel James side rods. We found this picture on the internet with sealed Urtels, and if you look at the James on the right, you'll notice that his side rods are grey instead of black. We're not sure if this is a factory error or a variant, but it's interesting nonetheless.
Urtel Thomas keychain with DVDs. In Hungary, this DVD set was released for Thomas keychain that you got as a gift with the DVDs. But the neat part is that the keychain really looks like an Urtel miniature Thomas, even though Urtel was never sold in Hungary.
Collectible Railway Rex and Bert. Yes, it's that time again. In Collectible Railway, Mike was released, but Rex and Bert had never seen the light of day.
Miniature Urtel Gordon. Every single Steam Team member was released in miniature Urtel form, but somehow Gordon never made it.
2012 Take and Play licensing info. In 2012, the original Take and Play engines received new license infos on their chassis for some reason. Presumably because the address on the Mattel headquarters in the Netherlands had to be molded on with the rest of the information.
Airy and Bert side rods. The side rods on diesel engines became a main thing around 2013, However, Ari and Bert already had them the year before.
2013 Norman. All of the Day of the Diesels characters got a new release in 2013, but Norman was left out for some reason.
2012 Stafford. Stafford is the only Miller-era character who didn't receive a first-gen take-and-play release, but we presume he was planned but didn't make it before the revamp. Not a big loss though, the 2013 one is very nice. Here's a pic of a prototype which we think was made for the 2012 version.
Ertl Percy and Bull Lad. Now this has got to be the biggest self-goal Mattel has ever done. In an advert, a kid has an Ertl Percy on his bull, not a push-along or even adventures.
2010 truck and 2013 sets. In the Thomas's Adventure Castle set, even though it's a 2013 release with a redesigned Thomas, it still included a 2010 style truck. Even more interesting is the fact that this specific truck wasn't even reused or anything, so it was indeed made in the 2013 era.
2022 prototype leak. Now you would think that in 2022, these days filled with all engines go and cheap merchandising, you would never hear anything new about Ertl, for example. Well, that's wrong because a lot of new prototypes showed up on eBay for sale out of nowhere. The most interesting is the Ertl mic.
Incorrect Ertl labels. Most of the Ertl item names are correct, but for some reason, Tiger Moth was named only Biplane and the Spiteful Brake Van was only Brake Van. Another thing that can be said here is that the Ertl Lorry one was only called Lorry one, even though it's not a generic release since it has sea-soaked decals.
Prototype Ertls on eBay. Even though prototypes are pretty hard to find, sometimes you can manage to catch some listings about prototypes mainly on eBay. Here are these two listings as an example.
Merlin is dysfunctional. Now brace yourselves for another usual Mattel L take. The Adventures Merlin can't even run on its own track system.
Second Christmas Henry. One of the most popular cancelled take-along engines is this Christmas Henry. Many of us thought that only one exists, but it turns out there's another one which even is a variant to say the least. One has the snow detailing while the other doesn't. The one that doesn't have it is presumably the earlier version.
And the other biggest fact in DIECAST history.
Come on, it was enough of the biggest facts now, West. Let's talk about the biggest bullshit in DIECAST history instead. I present to you the Pushmaster Adventures Along Percy right here.
Oh my god, bro. Oh, hell no, man. What the fuck, man?
Thank you all for watching this ICEBERG video. Credit to Western Engine 11 for helping get me out with it as usual. And credit to everyone else we got the information from. Happy New Year, guys.
Anytime, bro. See y'all next time. Bye.
This was Sir Grandpa of the Grace, signing out. Peace.